Hey guys, it's Packy from the house, and I'm here to talk about Chris Vai's two-handed bowling technique. So let's get to it.
So the first thing I like about his game is his spine tilt. Right here, he gets in this area, and you can see it if you just pay attention to it. He really maintains it throughout, and he never dips past that 90-degree spot. So a lot of two-handers I see, this is as low as he gets right here. And a lot of two-handers I see, they kind of dip past that 90-degree area, and they tend to, try and really throw the bowling ball with their back instead of with their legs or with their arms. And that can lead to back problems down the road or, just inconsistency throwing the bowling ball. So he's super athletic and he gets into this athletic stance right here. You see his back's at a good spot. He's got his head up, knees bent, and he just releases it not with his back, but more with his arms and uses his legs a little bit as well. So that's the first thing that I really like about his game. The second thing I really like about his game is his arm swing. So he uses a 5-step approach, starts the ball right there on his second step. And the thing I really like about it is the fact that his arm swing is so short. So a lot of two-handers, they have this arm swing, it also comes from throwing it with their back, like we talked about a little bit ago. But a lot of two-handers, their arm swing gets really high up in this area where you see the ball above their head, and you see his head's right here. The ball's below his head, which is really nice. So he keeps control of the ball by keeping it below his head, and then can create more power again with his legs and arms instead of trying to throw it with his back or swing it super high like a one-hander would to try and throw it with their arm swing. But you see here, he has nice control of the ball. He keeps it below his head. And I think the very top of his arm swing, I'll try and catch it here, is maybe, yeah, right here. And you see the top of his head here, and you see the ball even lower than that right there. And, that's just another thing I really think is key for two-handers is to keep the arm swing nice and low and keep it short. So it's short, it's tight, it's close to his body, just like everything in his game. He doesn't really extend out too far. He keeps it nice and close to his body, nice control, and then you see him throw it right there. And the very last part of his game that I really love to see is his trail leg. So I pick on this because it's something that I struggle with, and I think he does a really good job of. And what a trail leg is it is going to be also the leg that he pushes off with. You see him plant right here, and what my problem is my leg goes way up here, and it almost comes head height or above my head. And if you see his foot is going to drag straight across here and maintain, maybe a 1 or 2 inch height off of the ground. And that tells me that he's really, he's following through on the ball. He's not hitting up on it. He's giving it some nice soft touch. And I think the reason that my leg pops so high up in the air is because I hit up on it a little bit, and that creates my leg. You see his foot right here. I think mine would be right in this region, about head level. But I mean, it is just like I said earlier. I mean, his whole game is just compact. You see, his leg right here up to his spine. He's not stretching way out. Everything is kind of in this little tight compact zone, and that is also included with his trail leg. And so with those three things, with the spine tilt, he never goes past that 90-degree area, that 90-degree range. And then the nice short arm swing, also keeping it really, really tight to his body, really short, so he can, maintain some great shots, and he can hit his target down lane really easily because his swing's nice and tight. It's not bouncing all over the place. The shorter your arm swing is, the less it has to move. The less time it has to move, the less you can mess up. And then again, The last thing I said was his trail leg. He keeps it down, which means he's got some nice touch on it. He follows through really nice. So keeping his trail leg down, that's a problem that I have, and that's something that he does very well. And then the one thing I would love to see him improve on is I would like to see his leg, kind of just like Brad, where his knee bend, I would like to see him get a little deeper knee bend right here. So he's pretty upright on his knee, and I think if you notice, it causes him to pop up. So we'll watch here again. So if he could get his knee to bend further after he releases the ball, instead of, he kind of just keeps it stiff right here, and then you see his body pop up right here. His head, he's just about to release the ball, and his head's right here. It's at a nice level. And then you see, we'll go through it a little bit. When he's done throwing the ball, his head is right here. So I think if he could get that knee bent at the line, instead of kind of rocking forward and popping up out of the shot, if he could get that knee bent a little deeper at the line, maybe it doesn't need to be 90 degrees, just like I talked about with Brad, but maybe get right here so his hips are a little lower and he can kind of sit back on the shot. And I think, that is a problem. Chris is pretty strong, pretty athletic, and I think he tends to use his arms to throw it harder because of that. And I think if he could go more towards using his legs to throw the ball, that, he'd increase his finishes on tour. He'd be a little more consistent and have an easier time creating good ball reaction because he'd have great speed control. And I think it's hard to have like good touch and good speed control when you pop up on shots. And I think Chris and Mitch struggle with the same thing because of the way they kind of pop up at the bottom. They have a hard time throwing it slow when your legs and upper body are popping up out of it. I think it's hard for you to maintain a slower speed. But if he could use his legs a little more to throw it a little harder, I think he wouldn't have to use his arms so much. And in turn, he'd have better speed control. He'd be able to throw it a little slower, easier, throw it harder, easier, and just have better shot making. And I think that's something that he can improve on, and he's expressed if he can get lower to the line. And I think the way for him to get lower to the line is using his legs a little more. So that's my one tip for Chris that I think he can do to improve his consistency out on tour. Recently, we've seen him with some super high finishes, but I'd like to see him finish in the top 5 all the time.
If you enjoyed this video and want a professional bowler of the house to review a video of yours, just like we did Chris Vai, click the link in the description for a 50% discount on your bowling review.